Hi everyone, I'm really excited to share with you day 3 of our 4 days for fathers, and we're using all kinds of fun supplies today. I've got some faux leather, some snaps and some clips, some glue. We're just doing all kinds of fun things, gifts for dad. Today we're also doing a couple of projects that include sewing, some things for dad. So we have so much coming up, and so let's get started. For our first project for fathers today, I want to show you a very simple, fun thing that you can do for dads that you could help a young child do. So we're going to do that first, and then we'll do a couple of sewing things, and then we'll end with a really fun little something you can do with faux leather and snaps. So stay with us to the end, and if you like this, if you're going to do any of these projects or if they have inspired you, please comment and give us a thumbs up and share the channel so that others will know we're here. And so let's get started with this one. The first thing that we do is find something that dad likes that is flat like this. So for a dad that likes to do art, we got this mixed media notebook. It could be just a regular reading book. It could be any number of things, a manual, a catalog, to dream, just any number of things. But you're going to get a flat something to glue this on. We're going to glue on this real pretty paper and make a fun gift card for dad. And so if you were using like a regular book, you might not want to do this part, and instead of gluing it on, you could make a cover for the book, sort of like what we did back in the day when we were in middle school and we would create book covers. I don't know if kids still do that, but we wanted to keep our books in good shape so that at the end of the year the teacher wouldn't be mad at us. So we would create these book covers, and it was also a way to express our personal creativity, so that our history book was actually pretty or fun or goofy, or we could draw on the cover. So we're creating just that fun cover. This is such a simple idea. Now I'm going to go ahead and use these dies because I am loving using my Big Shot. So I got these really pretty fun dies of different shapes on Amazon, and of course all of the materials that I use for our dad projects today I will link in the description below. So we are going to create a circle. So I'm going to kind of mimic the circles that are on the paper. And I'm going to do these one at a time so that it will cut through well. So I'm just going to get a piece of this, and of course you can use scraps of paper. That actually is a better idea. And then I'm going to go ahead, and I have my magnetic platform, the cutting pad, and then I'm going to put down my paper. And I'm going to use the large ring for this one, and I'm going to run that through. And actually I can do 2 at once. Let me show you that. So let's cut this. I better make sure I keep it big enough. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that one off. And then I've got, I don't know if you can tell on camera, but this paper has a slight blue tint to it, but it's a light color so that it will show up what is going to be written on it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is put this one on there, and then I'm going to get the next size down. And in fact, I think I'm going to go 2 sizes down, and I'm going to flip those over. I've done that so many times where I actually did the right side away from the paper. Yeah, don't do it that way. Make sure you flip it over like that, and that magnetic plate just grabs onto those so they don't fall off. And then we're going to put on our other cutting plate and just run that right through the Big Shot. Goes through very easily. And then when I take that apart, this is what I get. There's my die. And then I get these really nice, let's see if I can get my light to where you can see it. I get a perfect circle, and these particular dies make it look like there's a little bit of stitching, just a little bit of a decorative edge around the outside of those, and I really like that. There we go. So those are going to go together like this and right on the front of our book. So let's go ahead and do that part of it. Now, you could also use some sticky dots and raise these up, but because this is an art book for Dad, or an I did journal, I want it to just lay flat so that when he opens it, it's flat. So I'm not going to give this any texture. Now, what we're going to do is get the kids to write a little note. So I'm going to get Anne to write my little note, and then I'll be right back. Okay, let's see if you can read that. So what I had her write on there is from your little peanut. And so now I'm going to go ahead and get the tape on there. And you can see where this is going with those peanut M&Ms. And this really appealed to me because peanut M&Ms are my husband's favorite M&Ms. So I thought this would be so perfect. And the goofy thing is, for years, off and on, we have called Anne Peanut. So peanut butter, sometimes pipoca, which is popcorn in Portuguese. So then what I'm going to do is just take my ribbon and I'm going to put it around the M&Ms and cinch it right up. And I'm going to go ahead and tie that into a knot. There we go. And I'm going to trim that off so that it looks a little bit like a bow tie. And then I have my hot glue here, and I'm going to just position that. I'm going to put some hot glue here and here. Whoops. And I'm going to push that down right onto there. So now when Dad eats those, he'll take that off, of course, and then this goes back to being flat. But there you go. Super easy, fun Father's Day gift that you can have your child make for Dad. Okay, so let's look at some sewing gifts. So I found two fabrics. One is a camouflage, one is a sort of a military green that I thought went together. I cut them so that the camouflage was about an 18-inch long by 6-inch wide strip, so that when it was folded, it was about 9 inches by 6 inches. And then I cut the green in 6-inch wide pieces and about 3 inches, I guess 6 inches long, 3 inches wide. And then I did a fold over, sort of a hem on one end. And then what I did is I actually sewed right side to wrong side at each end so that when I could fold up and fold it over, I could create this sort of nice pocket hemmed part. And so I went ahead and sewed that on each end, and then I will fold that over the top, as you'll see in the video. And then I went ahead and pressed down those ends and then sewed them closed so that those top little pockets or hems were completely sewed down. Then I brought in a gallon size Ziploc bag, and I kept it closed up, and I laid it so that the middle of the bag basically laid with my sewn pieces. And then I cut out the bag so that the closed piece, so that zipper part at the top kind of was right within the top of my sewn bag. And then I pinned that all around and went ahead and sewed the bag onto my camouflage piece. The plastic is kind of slippery, so you have to hold it and kind of go along gradually and make sure you definitely backstitch at the beginning and the end to hold that in place. And then once that's done, clip your corners, turn it right side out and push through your corners, and then you have this nice waterproof inside part, plus a couple little pockets on the side where you could tuck some extra little treats and put in your snacks, and you've got a camouflaged treat bag. Our next sewn project for Father's Day uses the same fabric. I used a 4.5-inch round lid, and I cut two pieces of each of those fabrics and a little piece that I folded and made a tab and then a zipper. I pressed two of the rounds in half and then pinned them onto the zipper and sewed them down using my zipper foot. The zipper foot makes it so that the zipper can run into a little channel so that you can sew that fabric really close to the zipper and get a nice tight sew down so that the fabric doesn't get caught into the zipper. So I sewed one side first and then pinned the second side so I could make sure that the two sides lined up really neatly across from each other. Check to make sure your zipper opens well, and then go ahead and tack the bottom of the zipper at the bottom of the fabric by sewing back and forth across it. And then on the other end, go ahead and sew down, open your zipper a little bit, tack across that, and then sew down your little tab that you have made, and make sure that the tab points inside towards the opened zipper. Once both ends are tacked down and you've got your tab in, make sure your zipper is open, and then go ahead and place your other two rounds on top and go ahead and sew completely around the entire outside rim of your piece. And I pin that first to keep it in place. Trim down any excess because you're going to be turning this and you don't want it to be too bulky. And because you've kept your zipper open, now you can go ahead and turn that whole thing out, and then you've got a nice pouch. And the best part is you can use it for many things. What I like to use it for is a great place to store cords. So let's take a close-up look at those one more time, our two sewed gifts. So this one, a little cord holder. That could also be a little coin holder. It could hold any number of things. So, and it can also hang off of a belt, off of a keychain, off of a coat pull. So there's that. And then our secret beef jerky hideaway. So there we go. So this is a great thing while hiking, or you know, driving long distance or camping. Just a real easy, waterproof, because of the Ziploc bag, waterproof way to keep beef jerky or nuts, candy, any other number of things. So quick sew items, very good way to use up scraps, but those are a couple of our other fun gifts. So let's do our very last gift that we're making for Dad for today. And then I also want to show you something that my mom made several years ago for my dad. So what you're going to need for this last gift is some faux leather. And I got this at Hobby Lobby. It comes in their ribbon section, the ribbon on a spool, and I've used some of it, but I love it. It's really good quality, and it comes in several different colors. I wouldn't say it comes in a wide variety of colors, but there are several. So you'll need some of the faux leather, some that you think your dad would like. We're going to need a snap. We're going to be using our KamSnaps snap press, one of my favorite things. And then I also am going to choose out of my collection, I'm going to get one of these swivel hooks that we're going to be using for this project. So we were using all kinds of fun materials for this one. Now, there are ways that you can interpret this, of course. And you can use this for any holiday, birthday, any gift, and you can fine tune this for the man in your life. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to use my rotary cutter. You can use scissors, it's okay. And I've got my glue gun heating because this is a no-sew project we're going to do completely with a glue gun. And so I am going to use my glass mat, which I work on quite a bit now that I have it. And I'm going to go ahead and cut a strip the full length of the faux leather. I'm just going to cut right through that. Looks like I didn't get it all the way there. There. Okay. And let's see. Just so you know, the length of that it's just a little over 8 inches, so we'll just call it 8 inches. Okay, so now what we're going to do is flip it so wrong side is up. And we're going to fold up the bottom and bring the top down over it because we are going to create a little pouch. We're going to create a little pouch, and we want to make sure it's going to work just right. That's going to have a snap right there. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to get it folded and make sure that is straight right there. And I'm going to come with a pen, and I'm just going to mark right there where it folds, okay? So when I unfold it, I can see how far up this is going to fold, right? Then I'm going to fold this in half so I can get the center up here. I'm going to make a little notch there. So I've got my center notch and my two sides. And then I come with my handy dandy ruler, and I'm going to line up the end of my center with the end of that side. Draw a line. Do the same thing on this side. Then I'm going to come through with my good fabric scissors and just cut right along that line. There we go. So we can get a nice point. There. Okay. Now, when I fold this up like this, this will come down, and it will create my little pouch. Now, before we go any further, what I need to do is go ahead and put on the snaps, because I want to put on the snaps before we glue down this edge so that I can put the snaps on while flat. So I'm going to go ahead and get out my snap, and I'm going to get 2 pieces. I'm going to go ahead and use just the round snap pieces, and then I need a male end that kind of pokes up and the female end. So you've got to have 2 different ends. Now, it doesn't matter where they go on this, they just have to be opposite each other. So my first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to fold this up the way it's going to close. And then to be able to mark what I'm looking at, I'm going to take one of my snap pieces, line it up in the middle, and I'm going to just really push down so that that snap part, I'm going to go ahead and work that through. There we go. That faux leather was pretty tough. So now I've pushed that through. Now let's go ahead and do the fold and line it up so it's just right. And then I can go ahead and push it into there, and then I can see the hole there. I'm going to now come with my other pokey end and poke that through so it goes all the way through there. Man, that leather is strong. I'm going to have to set it down to do this. And I'm trying to basically create the hole going through to this side. Let's see if I can see it. Yeah. Okay, so now that I can see where that needs to go, I'm going to bring this around to the back side and poke it through. There. Because when this closes, I need these 2 pieces opposite each other so that they can then snap together. All right, so that's why I poke on one side to get my hole, and then I bring it around to the back to get it poked all the way through. All right, now let's get the cam snap. I'm going to move my glass mat out of the way because I don't want the cam snap to fall on it and break it. Okay. So I have my adapter in the bottom there. I have screwed on to my KamSnap the little part that needs to go in there in order to put on our snaps. So I'm going to go ahead, put that in, set it in the well, put it down, and now push, and it just sets that. I love this thing. And then I'm going to do the other. Into the well, down, push. There we go. Now let's snap it together. Make sure everything's lining up like it ought to. I like how that's gonna look. Okay, now I'm going to come back with my faux leather, and I'm just going to cut a little piece off, a little strip. All right, now when I put all of this together, I want a little loop that will come out this side to make it so that this could be hung on a belt, on a keychain or something. And that's probably a little big, so I'm going to make it just slightly smaller. Experiment here a little bit till I find a size that I think would work well. Good. And I'm going to make sure that it goes through there very easily. Okay, so I'm going to cut it right there, and then let's measure that, and I'll tell you how long I ended up cutting that. So that's about 2 1/4 inches. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put that through and get that in there so that I don't forget to put my to put my ring through, my swivel hook. And then I'm just going to go ahead and push that down. And I do want it to, I'm going to put just a little bit in on this side. There. Okay, I'm going to push that down there. So my little ring is in there. Now, as I glue this down, it will add a little bit of extra glue and make that even more secure. So here we go. Now, when you're gluing this, if you get a little too much glue and it oozes out, that's perfectly okay. It's better to have too much rather than too little. And the first side is going to be easier than the second. So I like to put this in when I'm doing the first side because I can just bring it up, push it down, push the glue out, and if it oozes out over the edge, that's actually really good, especially right up there. I've got some good glue coming out there. Okay, if I didn't get enough that first time, it's okay because I can always come back through and fix it. All right, now we're going to do the second side, and we don't have, it's folded, so that's what makes it a little trickier than the first. Push it down, move that so you can see, and then I'm going to just help that glue ooze right out. And what that does, it kind of helps seal that. This is a good time to have my Dollar Tree weeding tool. That it's too dull on the end, so it's not good for weeding, at least mine isn't. But it's perfect for this kind of stuff where you don't want to burn your fingers. Yeah, okay. So now I'm going to go back through and check. Okay. And back with my handy weeding tool. And I can already see the strings coming off the side. Okay, and that side actually looks really good. Okay, so now we've got all of this stringy stuff. So what I'm going to do is come back, not with my sewing scissors, but with my good craft scissors, and just trim up all of that stuff. Bring in my garbage bin. I always mention that, don't I? Because it's just so handy. I think everybody ought to have a little bin like that. I bought it at the dollar store, so, you know, and it has been so handy. Okay, get that in. All right, there we go. Snap it closed. Oops, looks like I got a few more strings there to deal with. There. Okay. Now, a no-sew but very easy project. This could also be used to corral cords. It could be used to put business cards for men that don't like to carry a lot of stuff. I mean, sometimes you see these guys and their pockets, it's like their pockets are just full of stuff and it looks weird. So for guys who like to carry less in their pocket, they can carry their credit cards, their some cash, their driver's license, their ID, and it's just so handy. It could even be hooked on a belt loop, hooked on a coat pole, any number of places, but so easy, no sew, and super, super handy for any number of things. There you go. Okay, I want to show you one other thing, an idea. This takes a lot of work, but I just thought it was so clever and wanted to show it to you. This is something my mom made years ago for my dad. And what she did is she took a whole bunch of his old ties, and some of them were worn out. Some of them she had made the ties, so she had scraps of the fabric. And so she used his old ties and did this kind of shirt quilt block, which I thought was so cute. But I love it because she added buttons where the buttons would go. I love this. He actually did have a couple of bow ties. I remember I remember this red bow tie. And then she put on them some of his old tie pins. Here's one from the Navy, one from, I guess, donating blood. And then some of these that are more special are some pins that he got when my brothers received awards in scouting. And so it just became kind of a really special thing. This hung on their wall for quite a while. And my dad has since passed away. And so it means a lot to me that I have his tie quilt, because I look at this and because I remember some of these ties. Check this one out. I don't know if he ever wore it, but that's a pretty wild tie. But it just makes me think of my dad, and I'm glad I've got the quilt. I'm glad my mom made it, and Dad loved it when she made it. He thought that was great, because what do you do with old ties? What do you do with some of those things that were meaningful, but there they sit in a box and you're not sure? And I just thought this was such a clever idea, and a fun idea also for dads. So let's review our dad gifts from today. We have our couple of sewn items, our special sewn pouch for cords, our secret pouch for dad goodies. We've got the little wallet that can easily slip into a pocket and hold any number of things and keep them safe. We've got the idea from my mom for a way to display Dad's collection of ties. And then we've got an easy gift from a child to Dad to share a treat and give him something else that he might use. I hope you liked those gifts. So be sure to subscribe and join us tomorrow for day 4 of 4 Days for Father. And tomorrow, Anne will be joining me, and we're making a special card for Dad. We're going to show you some other ways that that you can help your dad display or guard his collection. And then one really fun idea for a way for kids to maybe improve their relationship with Dad and help your kids reach goals. And so be sure to subscribe and join us tomorrow. And it's always fun when Anne is in the craft room. And so join us tomorrow, and we'll see you next time.